y-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b, is where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And it is the foundation of algebra. You have to know this equation. You have to be able to write things in this equation. So slope, or m, some words that mean slope. We've got change in y over change in x. So if I got a table, we're going to look at our y values, see how we go between them. Look at our x values, how do you go between them, and then put them on top of each other. Rise over run, perfect for a graph. Per each and slash a, oops, looks like I made a typo, it should be and slash a, and that is multiplied by the independent variable. Those are some words if you're trying to find slope in a word problem. The y-intercept is always the starting point. It's where the line is going to cross the y-axis and when the x value is 0. So slope-intercept form, here we've got a table. We're going to need to write an equation in that. So I need to find the slope and the y-intercept. So I'm going to start, I've got a table, so I'm going to do change in y over change in x. So to go from -2 to -1, I add 1. From -1 to 0, I add 1. From -2 to 0, I add 2. And from 0 to 2, I add 2. So change in y over change in x, that would be 1 over 2. Now I can actually see the y-intercept in the table because here I have an x value of 0. And the y-intercept is always when the y value when x is 0. So x is 0 and y is -1, so the y-intercept has to be -1. So I can plug this in, plug in 1/2 for the slope, and then I can plug in -1 for the y-intercept. So my equation would be y equals 1/2 x minus 1. That would be the equation of this line in slope-intercept form. So now, what if I had slope, was asking for it from the graph? Well, here you can already see I've put a blue dot on our y-intercept because it's where the line crosses the y-intercept, or y-axis. So the y-axis is our vertical line here. And then this is where the graph crosses it. It crosses it at 2, so the y-intercept is going to be 2. To get the slope, I can do rise over run. So from 2, I go up 1 to 3. So that rise is 1. And then I go right 2, so that's plus 2. So my slope is 1 over 2 because rise over run, rise over run, rise over run. And then we just talked about our y-intercept is 2 because that's where the line crosses the y-axis. So if I put it all together, y equals mx plus b, this would be y equals 1/2 x plus 2. All right, now what if I asked you to graph an equation from slope-intercept form? Well, to do that, you're going to have to start at the y-intercept and then make the slope a fraction, and then use rise over run to generate the following points. So here we have this equation, y equals 5x minus 3. Well, -3 is our starting point because that's that y-intercept, so I put a point at -3. Now I need to turn my slope into a fraction, so we have 5 over 1. So rise over run. I'm going to go up 5, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please remember you're counting the lines, not the spaces. Always count the lines. And then over 1, because rise over run, there's my next point. Then you can do it again. Go up 5 over 1, put a point, and just connect the points to generate your line. Additionally, if you would like to use your calculator to help you, you can enter a table of values or order pairs from a graph, and then it will be able to get the equation. So here we go. We've got our calculator. I'm going to go to Stat, hit Enter so I can edit the lists. In the L1, you're going to put your X values. So we have -4. Oops. Now, when I'm typing, I need to make sure I don't use the subtraction sign. I use the negative sign because I messed up there. So -4, enter. Then we have -1, enter. 2, enter. 5, enter. Okay. Then we arrow over to Y2. And I'm going to, our L2 to put our Y values. So I have -10. Then we have -3. Then 4, then 11, okay? Once all of your x and y values are entered in list 1 and list 2, you're going to go back to Stat. You're going to right arrow over to Calc. We want to hit 4, which is linear regression. Hit Enter until the screen changes. And here, I can see that my slope-intercept form, A is my slope, B is my y-intercept. But here I have all these choices that are not conducive to decimals. So what you can do, you can either type this decimal in the calculator, clear the screen, and hit math, enter, and it will make it a fraction. Or I'm hoping by this point you can recognize that negative 0.6 repeating is just negative 2/3. So our y-intercept here is negative 2/3. And then if I have 2.3 repeating, that's going to be 2 1/3. Well, looking at the mixed numbers, I don't have that option. So let's look at our improper fractions. Well, here, 7/3, if I divide 7 by 3, 3 goes into 7 twice. Okay, and then I also have 1 left over. You can also check this by going to just divide 7 by 3 and see if you get that 2/3 repeating, which I do. So my slope is 7/3 and my y-intercept is negative 2/3. All right, thank you for watching.